No one saw her. No one remembered her name. But on a blistering summer afternoon, on a forgotten stretch of road, Maya Oliveira became the only hope for a man who thought he had everything until his world stalled in a cloud of smoke. A gleaming black Maserati sat stranded beneath the ruthless sun. Its engine hissed, the hood popped open, steaming like a beast breathing its last. Inside, Thomas Weber, a man dressed in power, polished by privilege, punched his steering wheel in helpless rage. 11:43, he hissed, checking his platinum watch. 17 minutes until he was due to pitch the deal of the decade, one that would define his company and his legacy. But now, standing over an engine he couldn't even name parts of, he was stranded, alone, sweating through a silk shirt and a $3,000 Italian suit that had never known real work. Then he heard it, the hum of an aging pickup truck rolling to a stop. From it emerged a woman's skin glistening in the sun, sleeves rolled up, curls tucked into a bun, grease on her jeans, and confidence in her eyes. She walked toward him with purpose, as if the earth didn't dare slow her down. "Need help?" she asked. Thomas squinted, half annoyed, half desperate. "I have a meeting in 15 minutes. No signal out here. My assistant should have sent someone by now." Unbothered by his tone, the woman stepped forward and bent over the smoking engine like it belonged to her. "It's your cooling system," she said confidently. "I can patch it. You'll make the city, but just barely." He sized her up, skepticism thick in his gaze. "You sure?" he asked. "I'm a mechanic," she replied, locking eyes. "I run a shop 10 miles from here." Without another word, she returned to her truck, pulled out a rusted toolbox, and began working. Her movements were precise, her hands steady, small. Hands that wielded knowledge he didn't possess. Another 5 minutes, and this engine would have cooked. Luxury car or not, they're delicate, like some people. He winced at the jab but said nothing. "How do you know so much about engines out here?" he asked, unable to hide the condescension in his voice. She didn't miss it. "I read. I learn. Excellence isn't exclusive to cities, Mr. Weber." He blinked. "You know who I am?" She glanced at him briefly. "Business sections. You're hard to avoid." She closed the hood with a solid thud. "There. That'll get you to town." He sighed in relief, reaching for his wallet. "I owe you. Please take this." He extended a wad of bills. And that's when he saw it. The ring. A small silver band with a sapphire center, elegant, distinct, impossible to forget. His breath caught. The memory flashed like lightning. A child's hand, a leafy tree, a promise made in whispers. "Where did you get that ring?" he asked, voice suddenly hollow. The woman instinctively clenched her fist, shielding the jewel. "It was my mother's," she said, cautious now. Why? She couldn't have known the truth. That 20 years ago, Thomas had given that exact ring to a little girl right before he was taken away forever. A ring once worn by his own mother. A promise that he would return. But he never had. Now Maya Oliveira was no longer that little girl. She was a woman forged by loss, tempered by time, and standing before him in the shadow of a betrayal he didn't even know he'd committed. He opened his mouth to speak, but she turned away. "If the patch fails, my shop's 10 miles down. First turn after the Aurora sign." The engine of her truck roared back to life. Thomas stood there, paralyzed. "She didn't recognize me," Maya whispered as she drove away, her thumb unconsciously stroking the ring. "Or maybe he never saw me to begin with." At Hope Mechanical, Maya returned to her workbench, her fingers furiously disassembling a stubborn carburetor. Xavier, her uncle and mentor, approached quietly. "You'll snap that in two." "He showed up," Maya muttered. "With a broken-down car. Like fate's sick joke." "Thomas Weber?" She nodded. Didn't even recognize the girl he left behind. But he knew the ring. Later that night, Maya unlocked a wooden box beneath her bed. Inside articles, photos, records of Thomas's rise. And in one his engagement to Elise Harrington, heiress to a fashion fortune. Tomorrow he won't even remember the ring, she whispered, but Thomas did. The next morning a nondescript sedan pulled up. Outside her shop. No Maserati. No suit. We're not open, Maya called out, not looking up. I came to return something. He replied. In his hand was a small carved wooden brooch, a bird in flight. Maya gasped. You kept it? She whispered. You gave it to me. Thomas said softly. Right before I was taken. You were the only one who didn't laugh when I tried to carve. And you promised you'd come back. I tried, he said, shadows darkening his eyes. But my father had other plans. Xavier walked in, wiping his hands, reading the air instantly. So, the prince returns. I came to make things right, Thomas said. Why now? Maya asked sharply. He hesitated. In 3 weeks, I'm set to marry a woman I don't love, take control of a company I secretly hate, and complete my father's dream. But when I saw you and the ring, something shifted. He didn't tell her what else he'd discovered. That night, he had begun digging into Maya's past, into old property records, and found evidence of fraud. Maya, too, had secrets. Tucked in her filing cabinet were documents, property deeds, land transfers, forged signatures. All bearing the Weber name. The land that now held the future Weber corporate complex had once belonged to the Oliveira family, and it had been stolen. 3 days passed. Thomas canceled meetings, skipped events. In his father's office, buried under forgotten files, he found the one labeled Project Aurora. Inside, forged deeds. Fake death certificates. A paper trail of lies. She was never dead, he whispered, staring at a document faking the death of Amelia Oliveira, Maya's mother. At the same time, Maya made her choice. I'm going public, she told Xavier. At the groundbreaking ceremony. Dangerous, he warned. They've already taken everything once. I've got nothing left to lose. That night, Maya met Thomas under a tree in Aurora Square, the same kind as the one in their orphanage. She told him everything. And he revealed what he had found. My father's hosting the ceremony tonight, not tomorrow. He fears a leak. Then we expose him tonight, Maya said. The event was dazzling. Spotlights, press, elite guests. Cameras everywhere. Thomas led Maya in through a private entrance. As they crossed the marble floor, Ernesto Weber spotted them. What is she doing here? He demanded. She has a story to tell, Thomas replied. In Ernesto's office, tension crackled. How much do you want to disappear like your mother should have? Ernesto sneered. I want to know where she is, Maya replied. Ernesto laughed. She's probably forgotten you. She's alive. Then, Thomas said, recording everything. And then Xavier entered. Beside him, an older woman, frail but fierce. Mama? Maya whispered. Baby, Amelia said, tears streaming. Behind them, Elise, Thomas's fiancée, recorded the entire scene. Ernesto turned pale. You how? Not everyone stays bought, Amelia replied, and then came the final blow. She's not just Maya's mother, Elise said, holding up a file. She's Thomas's too. What? Maya and Thomas echoed. Elise did her research, Xavier added. Your father didn't just steal land. He stole children. You were both adopted, Elise said. Your records forged. Your siblings. Silence collapsed the room. Maya stared at Thomas. Their eyes same shape, same hue. The ring. The brooch. Our mother, Amelia whispered. I gave her that ring before he took you. Sirens wailed in the distance. This ends tonight. Thomas said. The media exploded. Ernesto Weber arrested for fraud, kidnapping, corporate crimes. The Weber empire shattered. Maya and Thomas reclaimed their mother. The land was restored. The corporate complex was transformed into a protected reserve with a community center. 6 months later, at Olivia Mechanical and Foundation, Maya was beneath a car. Thomas was drafting a speech for their latest youth program. "You ever think about it?" she asked. "How everything was a lie?" "It was," Thomas said, touching the bird brooch now worn as a pendant. "But the truth set us free." Amelia entered with lemonade, her eyes filled with peace. "That ring," she said, noticing it on Maya's hand. "It always knew. Some lies stretch decades, but truth, quiet, patient, always finds its way back. And sometimes, it returns wearing a silver ring and driving an old pickup truck."